Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having a great day today. As you can see, we've got two beautiful single cuts in the studio, two of my all-time favorite. These guitars are so good, they'll have you forgetting Gibson even exists. Yes, welcome back to the channel. As I mentioned, we've got two of my all-time favorite single cuts in the studio going head to head today. Now this is mostly going to be an audio comparison, but both guitars are extremely high quality single cuts, both coming in under $1,000. So they're pretty high-end mid-range guitars. Beautiful instruments, and as I mentioned, we're mostly going to do a tone comparison. I'll link to both guitars in the video description below for full specs, but here is a 30-second rundown of each guitar. Now, guitar number one is always on my recommendation list for anybody looking for a high quality single cut. This one is the Schecter Solo 2 Custom. It's got locking tuners, it's got a compensated Ernie ball nut, ebony fingerboard, mahogany neck, mahogany body, made in the USA pickups, 3 controls with coil splitting, mahogany body, maple top. So that's just a quick rundown. Even has some nice contours on that neck joint there. The whole thing is done in satin black, but it's available in white and as well a flame top. Now, obviously, guitar number two is also on my list of guitars to check out if you're looking for a high quality single cut. This is the Epiphone 1959 Standard. It's got vintage style tuning machines. It's got a Graph Tech nut, mahogany neck, mahogany body, maple top. It does have a veneer, so the fancy flame side is the veneer, but it does have maple on the top. Gibson USA pickups, Switchcraft switch, CTS pots, very high end. So there you guys go. That's just a quick rundown. As I mentioned, if you want more specs, it'll be down in the video description. So this should be a pretty interesting comparison. Both guitars are in the same price tier. They're both made overseas, but both of them feature USA-made pickups and high-quality pots, switches, and output jacks. So both of them are kind of souped up from the factory, ready to go. So there you guys go. There's some savings because they're made overseas, but they have super high-quality components. So let's jump in and do an A-B tone comparison, and then we'll talk about some of the features and strengths and weaknesses of each guitar after that. So now that we've heard these guitars played back to back, let me know in the comment section below which guitar you thought sounded the best. All right, now let's transition and talk a little bit about the strengths and weaknesses of each design. Now, let's start off with the Schecter. This is a little bit more of a modern take on the classic single cut. You get things like locking tuners, you get things like that Ernie Ball compensated nut. The fretwork is a little bit taller, like they're like more jumbo sized frets. Controls are a little simplified here, but they're a little more versatile because you do get that coil split. So the Epiphone doesn't have those coil splits, and of course a few more comfort cuts and things like that. Now I do like this matte black finish. I think it's classy enough. You could show up and play jazz or blues on this, or just show up to a metal gig and start shredding. So it's for me a very versatile finish. I think it's yeah, really beautiful. This one came in at 8.3 pounds, so not bad. Anytime you can get in and about that 8.5 kind of pound range, you're doing pretty good for a single cut. So I would say strengths is the versatility of this and the modern nature of it. So it's a bit of a chameleon for me. I feel like I could just take this and play it anywhere. I feel like the pickups are pretty versatile as well. So that's the Schecter Solo 2 Custom. Right, now on to the Epiphone 1959 Standard. If you're jonesing for a more traditional Les Paul, this guitar absolutely is the way to go. To the point where if I want a traditional Les Paul experience, I'll grab this over the Gibson hanging on the back wall. It's just that good. Now, strengths of this guitar, a little bit of that history, a little bit of that traditional design. It even has the long tenon joint that, you know, those early Gibsons have, you know, so the neck kind of comes past the neck pickup underneath there. Yeah, just a really beautiful guitar. As I mentioned, all Gibson electronics and internal. So I think the strength of that is the history. The hardware is good. Yeah, pots and switches, as I said, feel phenomenal. Downsides to this one, because it is traditional, there's no weight relief. Now, my example here, I bought this as soon as they were announced and came out, and this one's 8.5 pounds. A lot of them are in the 9-pound range. So you do need to know that there's no, you know, Swiss cheese under the top like the modern Gibsons. It's a solid piece of wood. So if you want that 1959 experience, well, some of them are pretty heavy. So the best way I can sum up these guitars is if you want a little bit more of a modern experience, the Schecter is the way to go. It has some of those more modern conveniences, locking tuners, ergonomic cuts, that kind of thing. But I don't find the pickups on this too modern. I still feel like if I want some classic Les Paul tones, I can turn to this guitar no problem. Now, as for the 59, it's a pure vintage experience. So if you want that kind of throwback 1959 vibe, you know, fatter neck, vintage appointments, no real modern touches other than I would say probably like that nut, which is in my estimation, a very good decision because you want these traditional guitars to hold tune. So a little bit more modern on the Schecter, a little bit more vintage on the Epiphone, but as I said at the beginning, these are two of my all-time favorite single cuts. They're both under $1,000. They're both incredibly high quality to the point where I think a lot of people would be completely happy with these for years and years and years to come. So there you guys go. Those are my thoughts on these two awesome single cuts. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I got lots of great guitar content lined up for you guys moving forward. Other than that, have yourself a great day. Take care.